Adding a vendor record. Some features discussed in this video are not available in all the editions of MaxxTraxx. Please visit scottsystems.com for comparisons between the different versions. The vendor record is where all the contact information for your various vendors is recorded. It is also where we can enter and pay bills to those vendors, set up online parts catalogs, and track our accounts payable activity with the individual vendors. Vendors can be everything from your parts suppliers to your phone service. Remember, anybody you pay money to is a vendor of some type. We'll start by adding a new vendor record to our list. First, we'll go to the Vendors drop-down and click the Vendor List button. This will list all the current vendors in the system. To view vendors that have been made inactive, click the Show Inactive Vendors box. To reactivate a vendor, simply highlight and right-click the vendor line, then select Undelete Vendor. To add a new vendor, click the Add Vendor box in the lower left corner of the window. To the upper right portion of the vendor window, there are two buttons. You can make the vendor either a company or a person. This will change how the vendor is searched for. MaxxTraxx will look for the company name for a company or the last name if it is a person. In this example, we'll add a company. The only two pieces of information required for a vendor record are the company or individual name and the vendor code. The vendor code is something you assign the vendor for tracking purposes. It should be simple and easy to understand. You should include all pertinent information, including address and contact information. For the sake of this video, we'll skip those items. Note that if you have an address in the email field, you can send an email straight from the vendor record. You can also note your credit limit if desired. The open charges, total credits, and net payable fields will fill in as charges or credits occur. If this vendor is paid the same amount of money repeatedly, like a subscription, you can check the Recall Last checkbox to pre-populate the amount of money you will use in the bill paying section. After you have entered additional phone numbers and mailing addresses, click on the Account tab. In this section, you can enter your account number with that vendor, along with the federal and state tax ID numbers for reporting purposes. You can also mark if the vendor is a corporation and if you'll be sending them a Form 1099. Click in this box to allow AP charges to be used as credits for payments. Please note that the customer and vendor files must be linked through the vendor master record. We'll cover that later in the video. This would be used if your vendor was also a customer. If your vendor offers a discount for imported catalog parts, fill in that amount here. In the middle of the window, you'll find the due date setup and term discount boxes. All these figures would be supplied by the vendor if applicable. At the lower portion of the window, you'll see the AP account choices. You should not change the default AP account posting without checking with your accounting professional first. If you are setting up the vendor as a credit card for paying other bills, please see our video titled Setting Up a Company Credit Card. If the vendor is an online parts provider, click on the Catalog tab. This is where you can choose the price matrix setup for the vendor, the online catalog service the vendor uses, and enter your username and password for the vendor account. Please note that the username and password for the vendor website is usually not the same as what it would be used for MaxxTraxx. Your online parts vendor will provide all the login information to you. There might be some additional information required depending on which online catalog service you select. This is also where you'll find their Parts Tech and Ford integration information that was entered in the electronic ordering section of the Setups menu. Last, add any pertinent notes in the Notes tab. Click OK when you're done adding information to save the vendor record. Please note that if you're ever searching for a parts vendor and you don't see them, choose the All Vendors radio button. Vendors will only become part vendors after you have purchased parts from them at least once. Once the vendor record has been added, the transaction records are found in the Vendor Options menu. The View AP Transactions screen show all AP activity with that vendor. The window defaults to open invoices and credits. If you want to view something else, be sure to change the view. Deleted transactions, credits applied, and non-AP payments can also be displayed by checking these boxes. You can pay your vendor charges from the AP Transactions screen. You can create new invoices and credits, as well as receive a vendor credit within these screens. Be sure to watch our video, Managing Returns and Vendor Credits, for more details. And finally, the View and Edit Record Type is where you would make your vendor a customer and be able to allow AP charges to be used as credits for payments. This would be used in situations like when you work on a vendor's vehicle and they owe you money for that job. We hope you found the preceding video helpful. MaxxTraxx team members are readily available to provide personal assistance via several methods as shown here, Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Thank you for watching.